Welcome to Peak Personalities. This is a series we'll be doing bi-weekly with me and Nathan. The concept will be going by one series at a time, talking about some of our favorite moments, about a variety of characters, and for now, we're covering Bleach.
All right, everyone. If you guys remember me from the last video, it's your boy Nate, and I think I grabbed probably the next peak one, and that is the goat himself. One could say he's part of the gotei. Sorry, I laugh at my own joke there. Anyway, is actually Kisuke Urahara. Urahara, actually, he's the former captain of the gotei. But Kisuke Urahara, if anyone doesn't know, he is the basically Bleach's universe Batman, but also better, in my opinion. He was a former captain of the 12th Division of the Gotei 13. He has done a lot of amazing things. One of the most recognizables is that he created the Shinigami Research and Development. The thing I love about Urahara, this is still his intro here, is that he's very laid back and chill. Like he's just seen as like that cool shopkeeper dude, but underneath him such a cynical like badass, and that's what I love about Urahara. I don't think this is debatable. He is the smartest character in the Bleach universe, and he's an absolute genius. And we'll get more into that as we get on with this. Noah, do you have any reactions to me picking Kisuke Urahara?
I honestly was not expecting Urahara. I was kind of expecting Gin, because you're like, shout out to the Gin fans last time.
I did do
I was like,
that.
I feel like it's gonna be Gin, and you just throw me with Urahara instead. I will say one of the cool things is there's like this little subcategory of characters that are like really jokey, but then at the flip of the switch are really serious. And like in the same vein of Urahara, you have characters like Karaku,
Shinji. Oh yeah, Kuraku. Yeah.
and then also Ichibei.
Oh yeah, no, those are. I think I would also I'll throw Shinji in there because Shinji also comes off as like kind of a laid back, chill dude. But when he's getting serious, he gets serious. They are an anime trope, especially in shonen, but I love them because it's just I love the wacky goofiness into like a very serious, strong character. I think it's just a very cool duality. First segment is going to be our plot implications for Mr. Uruhara. And boy, does he have a lot. Honestly, this one was probably the hardest one for me to pick because when I hear a plot for the word Kisuke Uruhara, I answer the word yes to that. I can literally pinpoint Uruhara for the reason for everything that happens in practically almost everything in Bleach. Aizen's motivation and transition to his like pursuing his goals is honestly because of Uehara and his development of the Hogyoku, which that's probably his biggest plot implication he made. If it wasn't for Uehara, I'm pretty sure Yuha succeeds in his battle and he absolutely takes over the world. Um, I don't think there's a hard counter to that if Uehara never made like at least made the Hogyoku. And I know Aizen said he came to the same conclusion. His was kind of faulty, but Urahara's work. But I'm going to give Urahara the W on that. If we're also going for more plot implications, I think the biggest plot implication is Ichigo. Urahara knew about Misaki, especially from Everything But the Rain. And this is kind of headcanon, but I truly believe Urahara knew Ichigo when he was going to be born was going to be like this hybrid breed and super powered blend of everything. And then he turns into this kid, and then Urahara just magically shows up when he starts becoming more interactive with like Rukia, and then he starts seeing, his, Shinigami powers are probably awakening inside of him.
It is a running gag that Urahara is always around when the plot and Ichigo needs him. He's there to save him after he gets his shit kicked in by Byakuya at the start of the show. He's there to do the training to get him into Soul Society, also just to get him there to begin with, because Ichigo wouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
And he also gets Ichigo to Wako Mundo when no one else would have done that for him. And he also magically appears at the start of the 1,000 Year Blood War to get him to Wako Mundo again.
And part of my like research in this, I totally forgot about this. In the was Lost Agent arc, he was the one that was leading the way for Ichigo to get his powers back.
That is true. It's a big moment.
That's honestly each like Urahara's plot implication is literally for me yes everything.
And also, it was partially because of Ichigo, but also a huge part Urahara that Aizen even gets sealed at the end of the Arrancar arc.
Yeah, literally, that's he's the last one because Ichigo, he can't do anything at the end there, and Aizen did survive the attack. The Hogyoku just I don't know if it took a pause on him or if it was trying to I don't know if it was because they said every time we'll get to this, but that every time he gets close to death, the Hogyoku evolves so that he doesn't die and he gets stronger. I think it went like a pause on there, which I think is what Urahara was saying at the end there. Strong character moment. Uruhara is not much of a fighter. He's fought a couple times, but in terms of a strong character moment, I think for me, I have to put in when he goes up against Aizen, especially in the Arankar arc, because at this point, Aizen's like already fused with the Hogyoku, and Uruhara, the one thing like we know about him, he does not jump in just any fight. Like he is not gonna just like be Ichigo and Getsuga Tensho his way through things. Like that's just not how he rolls. Uruhara has a plan, whether it's for data collection or he thinks he knows he can win or come out alive out of it, he will do it. And when he was facing Aizen, especially with Ishin and
Yoruichi.
Yoraichi, yes, like he went in there, and I think Aizen even admits in the fight that if he didn't have the Hogyoku, he would have absolutely died. He was using all high level Kitos and Hatos, and he's just absolutely throwing everything he has at Aizen, and he pretty much kills him multiple times. The Hogyoku just keeps evolving, making Aizen stronger and stronger and stronger.
And the other crazy thing about that fight is Ishin basically hasn't done anything as a Soul Reaper for like 20 years, and he does a Getsuga Tensho so strong that it completely shatters Aizen's face in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how does he have that much power? And also, why isn't he dead?
Why doesn't he? Why doesn't he have a Bankai? Why doesn't he use Bankai? Why didn't any of them use it? Why? I don't know even why. I don't know if, like in the moment, like Urahara's like, yeah, Bankai's not gonna save me here. Like
I think
I think that's probably what his conclusion was.
Urahara sets up his Keto that seals him in that fight, and I think
Yeah,
he prioritized that over using Bankai.
yeah, I think that was probably his whole goal, which is probably like, especially during the fun thing about that fight. It's not really a long fight. But my favorite part about that fight was like Aizen's like this was the first time I think Aizen and Urahara interact
Turn back the pendulum.
since Turn Back the Pendulum. You just seen Aizen's reaction to seeing Kisuke. Like he's like, oh yeah, I've been wanting to see you. Like it's not like because the way Aizen's treated like the other like captains, he basically saw him as fodder and as like nothing to even scoff at. But Kisuke is a whole different look. Like he's bantering with him because I think Urahara's like, oh, too slow or something, or like you're finished or something. And then Aizen comes back and literally mocks him back because Aizen just has this like Aizen and Kisuke have a whole duality of who's smarter, and they're pretty much opposites, but they're still like they're opposites of the same coin.
There's like only a couple people who combat Aizen in like different aspects. Urahara combats him in intelligence. Shinji is the only person who can like verbally spar with Aizen and bring him a peg down. And Yamamoto is like the only person with enough power.
I think Shinji was the first one to touch Aizen.
He was.
Shows like how close they all were, and I give respect to Shinji. Biggest surprises back in the day when I first watched Bleach, I was looking at Urahara and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like a Kakashi kind of guy. He's gonna be a mentor to Ichigo. He's gonna be there for all his power ups. He's gonna make Ichigo super super strong at some point. I figured Urahara had some connection to Gotei, and I knew that, but I didn't know his absolute intelligence and just plot. Like honestly, this goes back to the plot implications. Like he can be really named the one who pretty much started Bleach or put everything into motion, and that's like from his involvement with the Hogyoku, being a simple shopkeeper Joker type character, not really joke character, but like being this jokey character that gets super serious and he's like not one to mess with. That early on when I watched Bleach and I stopped fanboying, that was like things that shocked me about the character. What's something that surprised you about Urahara?
I think my biggest surprise was like how earnest and thoughtful and sincere he is when he is first brought into being a captain. I don't think there was like a more shocking moment than all of the Vizards on the ground holifying, and then him plus, what's his name, Tessai.
Tessai, yes, Tessai.
They do that Kiro combination to freeze time, teleport them, and escape to the world of the living. And somehow, some way, he found a way to stabilize all of the Visored. That's also like a huge moment for the plot if the Visors weren't so fucking sidelined. Like, Hachi's like the only Visored who actually has a important moment turning a battle against the Espada. Because Rose and Love, like, I don't even think they helped defeat Stark. I was like, I was so disappointed. Like, we're bringing in these new characters, and all they did was give Shunsui the window to stab Stark. Like, come on.
I'm not even joking. Of all the Espada fights, if there was one the character I can name that had the biggest impact in the fights on the Visors, I was gonna throw. I can't think of anyone else but Hachi, and then obviously Shinji faces Aizen. But
Shinji has good moments, but Hachi makes the biggest battle difference.
oh yeah, definitely. He pretty much made sure Soifel wasn't dust.
He also is the one who saved Hiyori when Gin chops her in half.
Oh, he did, huh?
Yeah, because he stabilized her top half and bottom half until Unohana got there from Wakamundo.
Ooh, oh, I'm glad you just. I'm glad you brought Hiyori up. So that's another thing that really surprised me about Kisuke is that he comes off of this. He's very strategic, and this is very prominent in the Thousand Year Blood War arc. There is a moment. Kisuke is one that is not afraid to like sacrifice individuals for the sake of a plan. And I believe there's a moment in the Thousand Year Blood War arc where Hiyori like confronts each like Kisuke, and she's like, "You sent Ichigo and them to go to I think was it the
Royal Palace.
yeah, well, the Royal Palace in order to stall the time, or was it the Schutzstaffel?"
It was just going up to the Royal Palace. By the time they get there, it's after all the Zero Division is defeated.
Yeah,
But I think they were sent before that happened.
yeah, they're already all dead, and Hiyori's like confronting him, and he's just silent because he knows she's right, and she knows him very well because that's his lieutenant. Urahara has done this in the past before, especially with like especially installing with Rukia. He literally installed the Hokyoku inside of her.
That part in the story, there's just like too much happening.
There is a lot going on there. There is still a lot.
They're like, oh yeah, Rukia has a Hogyoku in her. Aizen betrayed the Soul Society, and it turns out that Rukia is Byakuya's wife's little sister. It's like, why are we throwing all four of these at the same time?
And Ichiro just got Bankai. Also, he has a demon inside him.
Yeah, like all of those happen within the span of like 5 chapters. They're just like, slow down.
And Ichigo one-shot 2 lieutenants at the time, by the way. Like, three. Like, oh, that was crazy. He did, he does apologize, so he is a little bit like humane. He's not just like oh whatever. I had to hide the Hogyoku, so I shove it in Rukia. Peak moment. Everyone's gonna roll their eyes at this one, but I don't care. Okay, listen, when he fights Askin, I don't care if it was like low-key, like a dunce fight anyway, because most of the time Yorichi's mostly one doing anything. When he steps in and like he gets his eyes blown out, I just like sat there, I'm like, oh, it's gonna happen. Like no hesitation. And that was so peak because at that point we had no idea what Bankais we were gonna see. Like we were confident we were gonna see Gurok, but for Urahara, like at that point, Urahara was only really doing recon stuff. He was only sitting back. He was really just playing more of a coordinator, like war coordinator, and he didn't really do much fighting at all. So we had like no like some people did theorize like that Askin and Urahara were gonna fight. Some people thought it was gonna be Mayuri, but obviously Mayuri fought the left hand of the Soul King during that time when I saw that was the squad going in. It was just a really cool dynamic because it was pretty much set up from the beginning when they were in Hueco Mundo, and we saw that
Grimmjow?
Grimmjow, there we go, Grimmjow, yeah. So
Grimmjow's 6.
Okay, he was 6. Okay, so Grimmjow, Nell, Yorichi, and Urahara. What a team, by the way. That's a crazy combo. And that was just a baller fight. And then Kisuke was overall he planned so ahead that he literally had Nelson in the background just to save him. But that was kind of a letdown, though, because Kubo literally just kind of forgot about Kisuke.
I mean, Soifon also goes Mia after her fight against BG9. She does, like, nothing.
I mean, folks, if no one knows by now, I'm a Soifon hater, so that I actually kind of didn't care about. But
I just thought it was weird.
I don't even remember her showing. I don't even remember her being.
Like she did all this training only to like go even on death's door against a random guy whose shrift doesn't even get revealed.
That's what I'm saying. The Thousand Year Blood War arc was literally her just shooting her rockets off. I can't remember. I can't remember her doing anything. Okay.
She's literally only in the background after that.
She really is. I know she has a crush on Kisuke, and that's a random fact I know about her. She does have a crush on him.
I don't think she has a crush on him. I think she's jealous of him and she wants Yoruichi.
She probably does. I think it's a combo. I think it's like a three-way combo. She definitely has a crush on because there's a scene where she's blushing at Kisuke because someone said she had a crush on him and she was blushing at that. That'd be a although I think Queen Yoruichi and Kisuke. That's a set. I wish we could talk about that with character relationships. That'd be something to talk about because there's totally a thing.
Dude, we could make another series about character dynamics. Do you
That
like
would be cool.
pairs?
That's a unique one because you know what? A lot of people have their theories on that. Some people say they're friends. No, they're more than friends. But that's as far as I'm gonna say they are. I'm gonna say they're more than friends. I'm not gonna go further. So my favorite thing about Urahara is outside of his like intelligence that he's super smart and such. A lot of like anime tropes, you'll see like characters have their like little shtick, right? Like Naruto, he'll tie his headband on his head, lock it in. Goku will sometimes do a dance or whatever. Now that's what he does in Super. Ichigo, when he goes Bankai, he'll sit there, swing his sword to clear smoke away. Like Urahara, this is such a simple thing he does. I love it when you know he's getting serious when you just see that black veil covering over top his eyes from his hat, because that's how you know, like, okay, that's like the whole tone within the Thousand Year Blood War arc is that Urahara is like dead serious. Sole purpose and goal has always been to protect the Soul Society and then to maintain the balance with the Soul King. And when that was like getting ruptured, he was like the first one to like, okay, yeah, he knew something was going on, and he was just locked in from there on. And that's probably one of my favorite things about Urahara. What's your favorite thing about Urahara?
When he uses his Shikai and when he made his like
Roar,
that firework roar, it's just so cool in the
It,
anime.
it, it, it is. What is that episode I'm thinking of where he's like literally in his Captain Gi and he's literally just swinging and slicing on this like white dragon? I can't remember that. It might be in a movie or filler, but that was such sick animation. I don't remember what it was.
I know he has a filler fight against himself. I think it was in the Regai arc. You got to see like some different variations of the Shikai, I believe, that don't get shown elsewhere in the show or manga.
What's the Ray Guy arc?
It's the Mod Soul arc. It's season 14. Basically, every character has a Mod Soul variation and a clone
Mhm.
that's on the opposing side.
How many episodes was this arc? It had to be short.
It's a shorter one. I think it's around 20-ish episodes. The other thing I really like about Urahara, if he is confident enough in the fight, he will sidetrack the fight just to study. Like when he's against
Mhm.
Yami, he makes him look like an absolute fool because he blows up his artificial Gigai to analyze his
Mhm.
bottle blasts. And then when Ichigo's fighting Koge, he's just literally creating notes about all the different like characteristics of the Quincy's, like the blood vein and the absorption ability that Koge uses. I forget what
Mhm.
it's called. There's actually a neat note that Kubo made where he says Koge actually weakened himself by taking in Hollow Ryatsu just to maintain the fight and keep Ichigo at bay.
Yeah, I remember reading that too. That he actually did get weaker from that. And that's one thing that I actually like about like Urahara is that he really sticks to his roots. Like some characters and their tropes that they fit like as like the master or teacher, like they don't really stick to them in certain moments. Like for example, Kakashi, he's known as the copycat ninja in Naruto. He's known as strong, but he comes from fodder later on. Urahara, since the beginning, is like absolutely a smart genius. He also analyzes well, and he is a scientist at heart. But that's all I have on Urahara.